Have you ever noticed how some incredible games go unnoticed, while others, not as good, get all the attention? With that in mind, I've selected 20 amazing games that deserved way more recognition. Some of them are true hidden gems, with emotional stories, innovative gameplay, and stunning graphics, but for some reason, they didn't get the recognition they deserved. But if you give them a chance, they'll surprise you and might even make it to your list of favorite games. This is Jack speaking, and if you're new here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel. I bring you daily content, so you won't miss a single detail of the gaming universe. And if you could subscribe to help me grow, I'd be thrilled. From one gamer to another. First on the list, we have the Technomancer, an action RPG set on Mars that blends sci-fi and survival elements in a unique way. The player is taken to explore a ravaged planet and make choices that directly affect how the story unfolds. One of the standout features of this game is its combat, combining technological powers and physical abilities, allowing for a highly dynamic playstyle. It's not one of the most talked about games, but it definitely deserves a spot among the best. What makes this game stand out is the freedom to tackle missions. You can choose between negotiation or combat, and each decision has a significant impact. The skill progression is flexible, allowing the player to adjust their playstyle as they progress. For those who enjoy games that require both strategy and action, this is a must-play. Another strong point is the immersive atmosphere. Mars landscapes are richly detailed, and the sense of desolation really draws the player in. The striking visuals, with colors that capture the arid and dangerous nature of the planet, create a distinctive atmosphere. It's easy to find yourself completely immersed in this vast, mysterious world. Next, we have Bound by Flame, an action RPG that places the player in a dark world filled with evil creatures and tough moral choices. The game challenges you to control a hero who must fight against the influence of an inner demon, creating a narrative full of tension. The combat is fast-paced and strategic, offering various fighting styles and magic that you can adapt as you progress. Although it's not as popular, it's one of those games that surprises you with the depth of its choices, which genuinely shape the character's fate. One of the best parts of the game is the combat mechanics, which allow you to tailor your fighting style to your preferences. You can either focus on physical combat or adopt supernatural powers, with each decision significantly altering gameplay. The storyline evolves with your choices, creating a dynamic where each playthrough can be different from the last. This adds a layer of strategy and planning that makes the game much more engaging. The dark graphics and enemy designs are breathtaking, creating an environment of constant danger. Every encounter with a new creature is a true test of skill, keeping the tension high throughout the game. The highly detailed visuals and oppressive atmosphere make Bound by Flame one of the most underrated games in the genre. Third on the list is A Plague Tale: Innocence, a game that surprises with its gripping narrative and stunning settings, despite its dark tone. The player is transported to medieval France, devastated by the plague, where two siblings struggle to survive amid the chaos. The highlight here is how the game blends stealth with intense action moments, creating gameplay that keeps you hooked from start to finish. It's the kind of game that leaves a lasting impression, not only because of its emotional story, but also for the immersion it delivers. The stealth mechanics are one of the game's strengths. The player needs to be clever in using the environment to their advantage, avoiding enemies whenever possible. The relationship between the main characters adds a unique emotional layer, something few games manage to achieve. The way the narrative and gameplay intertwine makes every stage feel like a new challenge to be unraveled. Visually, the game is impressive. The settings are richly detailed, from ruined villages to plague-ravaged fields, creating an immersive atmosphere that feels like it's pulling you into the screen. The atmosphere and artistic design are so well executed that even amid the devastation, there are moments of true beauty that contrast with the darkness of the story. It's a game that keeps the player engaged both through its narrative and its striking visuals. In fourth place, we have the Saboteur, an open-world game set during World War II, bringing a captivating mix of action and stealth. The unique feature here is the use of black and white in the environment, which shifts to vibrant colors as the player liberates areas occupied by the Nazis. This not only creates an amazing visual impact, but also adds a layer of depth to the gameplay. It's the kind of game that makes you want to explore every corner and complete all the missions. The gameplay blends explosive action with more strategic stealth moments. You can approach missions in various ways, either sneaking past enemies or causing as much chaos as possible. This balance between different playstyles is what makes the combat so engaging and varied. Unlike many other war games, it brings an unexpected lightness with touches of humor, which helps break the heavy atmosphere of the historical setting. The artistic style is a standout on its own. The contrast between black and white and the vibrant colors creates a unique and immersive atmosphere. Each area you liberate feels like a small visual victory, and this transformation gives a constant sense of progress. The open world is rich in detail, and the city of Paris becomes a true playground for your sabotage missions. In fifth place, we have Blacktail, a first-person adventure that mixes fantasy with Slavic folklore, offering a unique and immersive experience. The player takes on the role of a young archer on a journey to discover her true nature, and the choices made along the way directly impact how the story unfolds. What really stands out is the fantastic visual design, with environments that seem like they're straight out of a dark fairy tale. It's the kind of game that hooks you with the curiosity of exploring each new setting. The gameplay centers around fast-paced combat with a bow and arrow, along with magical abilities that flow naturally within the context of the action. As the player progresses, there's the option to customize the combat style, making each encounter more strategic. The mission design offers a mix of intense battles and exploration, with moral decisions that affect the game's pace, keeping the challenge and the player's attention high. The visual style and soundtrack are real highlights. Every setting, whether it's a dense forest or a mysterious cave, is richly detailed, creating an atmosphere that oscillates between the mystical and the dark. The music, which accompanies both the tense and calmer moments, further enhances the immersion, making each discovery feel impactful. In sixth place, we have Life is Strange, a game that captivated many with its emotionally intense and engaging narrative. The story follows a young woman who discovers the ability to rewind time, which quickly turns into a series of moral dilemmas that deeply resonate with the player. Every choice you make carries significant weight, and the way the story unfolds constantly leaves you questioning the decisions you've made. It's the kind of game that makes you reflect on how small actions can change everything. The time manipulation mechanic isn't just a feature. It's a tool that amplifies the emotional weight of the plot. You're not just playing, you're revisiting moments and reconsidering decisions, and this brings an immense sense of responsibility. When you go back in time to change something, it becomes clear that there are no perfect choices. There are always consequences, and this heightens the emotional impact of every decision. The relationships between the characters become even more complex and real because of these choices. What truly captivates in this game is how it connects you emotionally with the characters and their journeys. With every dialogue, every moment of reflection, you feel the depth of the emotions the story evokes. The bond between the characters and the situations they face is so well built that it's often impossible not to feel a part of that reality. The choices are difficult, and their impact stays with you even after you've put the controller down. In seventh place, we have GreedFall, an action RPG set on a mysterious island, filled with fantastic creatures and warring factions. The game stands out by offering a vast world where your choices shape both the storyline and the fate of the various factions you encounter. The sense of discovery is constant, and each new mission brings opportunities to explore the balance between diplomacy, combat, and moral decisions. It's a game that perfectly combines an engaging narrative with freedom of action. The gameplay mixes exploration with tactical combat, allowing the player to resolve conflicts in various ways, whether through strength or diplomacy. This dynamism makes the player feel like they are truly shaping the course of events, making each step forward more interesting and unpredictable. The balance between strategy and direct action keeps the game dynamic, always offering new challenges and options. Interactions with characters and factions further enrich the story. Every decision made during these interactions affects how events unfold, adding significant depth to the narrative. The responsibility of your choices is evident, with consequences playing out throughout the journey, making this adventure a true test of decisions and their repercussions. In 8th place, we have Call of the Sea, a first-person adventure full of mysteries and puzzles. The story is set in the 1930s, with the player taking on the role of a woman searching for answers about her husband's disappearance on a tropical island. The game stands out for its calm pace and focus on exploration and puzzle solving, creating an intriguing and immersive atmosphere filled with surprising discoveries at every turn. The gameplay revolves around solving puzzles, requiring observation and logical thinking. Each environment reveals clues and secrets that gradually connect to form the full picture of the story. This immersion in the island's mysteries creates a constant sense of discovery, and the narrative unfolds as you explore. There are no combat sequences or frantic action, which gives the player space to absorb every detail of the plot. Another aspect that keeps the player engaged is the emotional involvement in the protagonist's journey. The story is not just about seeking answers, but also a reflection on identity, loss, and sacrifice. The twists and revelations that occur along the way add depth to the plot, leaving the player constantly curious about what's coming next. In 9th place, we have Dave the Diver, a game that blends underwater exploration with sushi restaurant management. It may seem like an unusual combination, but it works incredibly well. The player controls Dave, who explores the ocean during the day in search of exotic fish and manages a restaurant at night, using the fish he catches to create delicious dishes. The game stands out for its originality and relaxing pace, making it a perfect choice for those looking for something fun and different. The gameplay is split between underwater exploration, where you need to manage depth, oxygen, and the ocean's dangers, and restaurant management, where the player organizes the menu, serves customers, and upgrades the establishment. This balance between the two activities creates an addictive cycle that makes you always want to play just one more day. It's a type of mechanic that flows naturally, keeping the player engaged in both parts of the game. The narrative, while simple, has moments of humor and interactions with charismatic characters that make the journey even more enjoyable. As the player progresses, new tools and challenges emerge, both in the depths of the ocean and in managing the restaurant, ensuring satisfying progression and keeping the game always interesting. It's a unique genre combination that ends up working very well. In 10th place, we have Prey, a sci-fi game that combines exploration, combat, and a mystery-filled narrative. The player finds themselves aboard a space station invaded by alien creatures that can disguise themselves as everyday objects, creating a constant sense of tension. The unique feature here is the freedom the player has to approach challenges, whether through direct combat, stealth, or using alien abilities acquired throughout the game. This flexibility adds a strategic tone to each situation. The gameplay allows for a wide variety of approaches, and the level design encourages exploration. You're always discovering new areas, tools, and creative ways to deal with enemies. The feeling of being on a space station full of secrets and dangers keeps the game's pace thrilling. The character's skill progression opens up a wide range of possibilities, making every decision important to how the game unfolds. The mystery surrounding the story is another strong point, with multiple layers that unfold as the player explores the station. The narrative reveals itself gradually, always leaving a hook for the next discovery. The suspenseful atmosphere and growing tension keep the player constantly on edge, further enhancing the immersion in this unique setting. In 11th place, we have Control, a game that stands out for its intriguing narrative and dynamic combat system. The player takes control of a character seeking answers within a secret agency that investigates paranormal phenomena. The setting is unpredictable, with rooms and objects that defy the laws of physics, creating a unique and immersive atmosphere. This is one of those games that constantly surprises with twists and deep mysteries. The gameplay is extremely fluid, with supernatural abilities that allow the player to manipulate the environment and face enemies in creative ways. The combat shines through the use of telekinetic powers, like lifting objects and hurling them at enemies, or even levitating during fights. This variety in the combat system keeps the player on their toes, making every encounter unique and action-packed. Beyond the combat, the engaging narrative invites you to explore every corner of the agency's building, uncovering secrets and solving puzzles. The story is filled with mysteries and surprises, and as you progress, the line between reality and the supernatural becomes increasingly blurred. The game's atmosphere is so well crafted that, even after finishing, the plot's details continue to resonate in your mind. In 12th place, we have Returnal, a game that challenges the player with its roguelike mechanics and an enigmatic narrative. Set on a hostile alien planet, the player must survive in a cycle of death and rebirth, with each new attempt bringing changes in enemies and the environment. What truly stands out here is the constant tension and frenetic combat, which demands quick reflexes and a good deal of strategy. The gameplay is fast and intense, with shootouts involving a wide variety of weapons and special abilities. Each death sends you back to the beginning, but with new challenges and a chance to improve your tactics. This constant restart system maintains a sense of progression and learning, as even when starting over, the player accumulates knowledge and improvements for the next attempts. It's a perfect combination of action and challenge. Another strong point is the mysterious and claustrophobic atmosphere that permeates each area of the planet. The fragmented narrative, revealed little by little, makes you question what is real and what is an illusion, creating a psychological layer that complements the action. Each new discovery about the character's cycle of life and death deepens the mystery and enhances the immersion in this strange and fascinating universe. In 13th place, we have Mad Max, an action survival game set in a post-apocalyptic desert where only the strongest survive. Inspired by the movie universe, the player controls Max on his quest for revenge and survival. The highlight is the combination of brutal vehicle combat with exploration of vast, desolate landscapes, filled with enemies and scarce resources. Every battle is intense, and vehicle building and customization are central to the progression. The gameplay is marked by brutal hand-to-hand combat, where physical strength and the use of improvised weapons make all the difference. The car battles are a true spectacle, with high-speed chases and explosive confrontations in the middle of the desert. Customizing your vehicle is essential for survival, and each upgrade prepares you better for the dangers of the wasteland. One point that receives some criticism for the game is the relatively empty map. However, unlike many games where this is a problem, here it's the opposite. The map brings true immersion into what it feels like to try and survive in the vastness and isolation of Mad Max's deserts, where basic human survival items can only be obtained through brute force. It's the kind of game that challenges you at every turn, offering a journey full of adrenaline and chaos. In 14th place, we have Killzone, Shadowfall, a first-person shooter set in a dystopian future where two factions are in constant conflict. The story unfolds amidst a technological Cold War, and the player is thrown into missions involving espionage, infiltration, and intense combat. The game's standout feature is its impressive visuals and variety of environments, ranging from high-tech urban settings to war-ravaged areas. It's a title that shines with its cinematic action. The gameplay combines traditional fast-paced shooting with strategic elements, such as using drones for support and advanced combat tactics. Each mission offers different approaches, allowing the player to choose between more direct action or cautious infiltration. The futuristic weapon designs and fluid controls make each combat encounter exciting, keeping the pace intense and dynamic. Another highlight is the world building and the constant atmosphere of tension. The plot reflects the paranoia and distrust between the factions, and the player is constantly put in situations that demand quick, precise decisions. This setting of technological warfare and espionage creates an experience full of twists, where each new mission reveals a different aspect of the war you're involved in. In 15th place, we have The Walking Dead, a game that stands out for its emotional narrative and focus on difficult decisions. Based on the comic and series universe, it puts the player in situations where each choice can mean life or death for a character. The game isn't just about surviving the zombie apocalypse, but about building relationships with other survivors and facing the consequences of your decisions. The story is the highlight, and the emotional connection with the characters draws you in completely. The gameplay is more narrative-driven, where the player needs to make quick decisions and deal with the ramifications of those choices throughout the game. The dynamic dialogue system and moral choices make every action important, ensuring that the player truly feels the weight of their decisions. Unlike many other games, the action here is found in the psychological tension and emotional survival just as much as the physical. The emotional involvement is deep, especially as the player becomes attached to the characters and starts caring about their stories. The twists and dilemmas that arise along the way are unpredictable, keeping the player constantly on edge. The way relationships and conflicts develop makes you feel like part of that devastated, ever-dangerous world. In 16th place, we have Enslaved, an action-adventure game that offers a captivating narrative inspired by the classic tale, Journey to the West, which has inspired many other works. The player is taken to a post-apocalyptic world where two unlikely characters must join forces to survive. What truly stands out here is the relationship between the protagonists, which evolves in an organic and emotional way throughout the journey. The dynamic between them makes the story much more personal and engaging. The gameplay is a mix of agile combat and platforming, with environments that require both fighting and exploration skills. The combat is fluid and involves a good deal of strategy, as the player must use the environment to their advantage. The enemy designs, featuring relentless robots, add a sense of urgency and constant danger. The progression of the story and the way challenges are presented keep the pace moving forward. The visually rich world and soundtrack contribute to creating an immersive atmosphere, but the core of the game lies in the connection between the characters. As the narrative progresses, emotions intensify, and the player becomes deeply invested in the duo's fate. It's a story that resonates with the player, offering moments of tension, empathy, and overcoming challenges. In 17th place, we have The Surge 2, an action RPG that stands out for the brutality of its combat and its dystopian setting. The player is thrown into a city devastated by technological disasters, where they must face both human and mechanical enemies to survive. The game's main feature is its strategic combat system, where you can target specific parts of enemies to dismember them and collect resources. This unique mechanic adds an intense layer of strategy that goes beyond the typical hack and slash. The gameplay is fast but demands attention and tactics. Every battle is a true challenge, where observing enemy attack patterns and deciding where to strike makes all the difference. By defeating enemies and collecting their parts, the player can customize their own equipment, creating an interesting and satisfying progression. This constant evolution and customization system is a major attraction for players who enjoy challenging games. The game's atmosphere also contributes to the sense of constant danger. The city is filled with devastated areas, abandoned laboratories, and enemies ready to destroy you at any moment. This chaotic setting increases the tension at every turn, and the player is driven to explore and face ever greater challenges, always with the feeling that any mistake could be fatal. In 18th place, we have Spec Ops, a third-person shooter that sets itself apart with its mature and deep approach to warfare. The player is taken to a sandstorm-ravaged Dubai, leading a team in search of answers about a missing platoon. The game's main highlight is its narrative, which explores the psychological consequences of war in a raw and brutal way, constantly challenging the player's morality. It's not just an action game, but a reflection on the horrors it brings. The gameplay is engaging, with intense firefights and the need to make tough decisions throughout the campaign. While it may seem like a traditional war game, it quickly reveals deeper layers, with moral dilemmas that force the player to question their actions. The choices made along the way not only affect the story's progression, but also weigh heavily on the player's mind, prompting reflection on the impact of violence and leadership in extreme situations. The atmosphere is oppressive, and every setting in Dubai contributes to the feeling of despair and collapse. As the plot advances, the player becomes more emotionally involved, questioning whether the ends justify the means. The surprising twists in the story and the way it handles morality make this a memorable and unique game within the war genre. In 19th place, we have Ryse, Son of Rome, an action game that transports the player directly to the Roman Empire, with epic battles and a story of revenge. The game stands out for its cinematic combat, where the player controls a Roman soldier on a journey to restore his family's honor. The battles are intense, with a combat system based on fluid combos and brutal executions, capturing the brutal nature of ancient combat. The gameplay is heavily focused on melee combat, and the player must master the rhythm of attacks and defenses to survive the challenges. The execution system, where you can finish off enemies with stylized blows, adds a layer of spectacle to the fights. There are strategic moments where the player leads armies and commands troops in larger battles, adding diversity to the action. The setting is also a strong point, with stunning environments that faithfully recreate the Roman Empire's atmosphere. From forests to colosseums filled with spectators, the game immerses the player in this historical period with great attention to detail. This combination of personal narrative with epic battles makes each confrontation memorable and exciting. Continuing, we have Vanquish, a third-person shooter that redefines the genre with its frenetic pace and innovative mechanics. The player takes on the role of a soldier equipped with a futuristic suit that allows them to slide across the battlefield at high speed, creating an extremely dynamic and fluid gameplay. Each battle unfolds intensely, and the use of the suit's special abilities makes the combat breathtaking, turning every confrontation into an adrenaline rush. The gameplay is the highlight, with fast movements, precise shooting, and abilities that can change the course of a battle in seconds. The fluidity of the controls allows the player to perform spectacular maneuvers, such as dodging bullets while attacking multiple enemies simultaneously. This combat style creates a unique sense of control and intensity, making it hard to stop playing. Vanquish elevates the concept of action to another level. In addition to the frenetic action, the futuristic design and grandiose environments complement the game's intensity. Each level is filled with challenging enemies and high-tension situations, but the ability to control the battlefield with speed and precision makes all the difference. This combination of fast-paced rhythm and tactical combat is what makes this title so unforgettable and fun. How many of these games have you played? And were there any you hadn't heard of before, but now piqued your curiosity? Sometimes, a game that goes unnoticed can become one of your favorites. And by the way, which game do you think was left out of this list and deserved to be here? Leave your comment and share your suggestions. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep discovering new games and stay up to date with all the latest gaming news. I'm leaving a card with another game list that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Just click to watch. A big hug, and see you tomorrow.